on a night where I think they wanted the primary focus to be on the WWE United Kingdom Championship, I'm much more interested in the tag team wrestling that we got and the fact that everybody seems to be calling out everybody. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your May 8th, 2019 NXT UK review, and we are back in the UK. We are no longer in Brooklyn. This is the beginning of the tapings from Scotland, so we are firmly in Gallus country, and we're going to get to that later on as we go, aren't we? There's a pre-tape to start the show from Sid Scala, saying that he's speaking on behalf of General Manager Johnny Saint in 4 weeks. We're going to have a fatal four-way. It's going to be a number one contenders match for whoever is the champion at that time, be it Pete Dunne or Walter, because in 2 weeks we're getting Pete Dunne versus Walter 2 for the I still get tripped up because I don't know whether to call it the NXT UK title or the WWE UK title. They still need to figure that shit out, because I think the wrestlers say both and I think the commentators say both. But the bottom line is there's 8 men that are going to fight for 4 spots in this Fatal 4-Way match. That Fatal 4-Way match is going to happen in 4 weeks. The title match is going to happen in 2 weeks. And then we're going to, I guess, have that match on the thing, because nobody has said anything. Nobody has said anything about an NXT UK takeover Glasgow or something like that. I really thought that I had heard that they are doing a takeover in Glasgow. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was just talking about this set of tapings. But I hope they do, because this crowd was raucous in all the Canadian, we're going to cheer for the heels and boo the faces, bizarro world kind of way. So I really hope they, if these tapings go well and if they sold well, etc. I don't know whether they were handing out tickets at the door or whatever, but this was a decent crowd tonight. And it was a decently sized crowd. It was a decently loud crowd. I don't know very much about Scotland. I'm not going to lie. That may not surprise a whole bunch of you, being that I'm firmly nested up here in Canada. But if this is the way a Scotland crowd is going to go there more often. I mean, I know they do the UK tours with WWE and whatever, but that's really, really a different thing, isn't it? So yeah, lost my place already. 8 guys, 4 spots, Fatal 4-Way, number one contendership match. Dunne, Walter, 2 in 2 weeks. They really did play with the numbers there. There's a Fatal 4-Way in 4 weeks, and there's Dunne Walter 2 in 2 weeks. Maybe they're cleverer than me. Cleverer is a word, I think. We start off with Mustache Mountain versus The Hunt, and for a split second I'm thinking, who the hell are The Hunt? But we did get that video package last week that I totally forgot about. The Hunt is Wild Boar and Primate, who are starting to gel as a team. I'm not sure if they were a fan or if they were a tag team on the indies. I'm sure with the animal theme, this is not the first time they've ever tagged up. Somebody over in the UK, maybe my buddy James, maybe I'm looking at you, Fear the Spear 1990. It's been a while, buddy. Throw it down in the box below. Are these guys a tag team before UK, or am I just losing my mind? They're a fun little team, and it's not like they're like sort of crazy, scrappy, underdog, animalistic, whatever. You don't expect much, but at the same time they pull off some pretty damn good wrestling. At the same time, it's not all like savage flurry type offense. Anyways, Boar and Bate start the match as a collar and elbow tie, but a double nerve hold by Bate, a trip by Bate, a cross body, and 7 works on the arm. Corner tackle by Boar, body shots by Primate, corner chops by 7, and a snap DDT in the center of the ring. Second rope overhead suplex by Primate with some elbow shots. Running senton by Boar, running senton by Boar, followed by an overhead key lock. There we go. Words are hard. Right hands by 7, and a double suplex by The Hunt. Primate drops Boar into a senton. He basically picks him up like he's going to give him a reverse DDT and then drops him senton style on their opponents. It's not quite something I've seen. It's a variation of something we see a lot. You use your partner as a weapon. You use your opponent's partner as a weapon. We start using people's bodies as weapons. But this particular way of doing it is not one that I've seen before, so it's new to me. It popped me in because this is my channel and it's my review. Whatever pops me is what matters. Yes! A little bit of leftover arrogance from the Ambrose video. Sorry. Go check out the Ambrose video. It was really fun. Anyways, headbutt by Primate, clothesline in the corner, jabs by Bate, a Hurricane Rana, a high knee, and an uppercut. This is, again, what I love about Bate, because he's the smallest guy in the ring, other than Wild Boar. Might be a bit shorter. He's got that explosive power, the unexpected power, and the speed to match it, and it's really good to watch him go on a little bit of a run. Airplane spin by Bate, who tosses Boar at Primate, side slam by 7, and a tandem suplex by The Hunt. Corner spears by Boar and Primate, distraction jabs by Bait and Seven, but the Lariat Snapdragon combination by Mustache Mountain get them the win. Mustache Mountain got the win here. Doesn't surprise me. They are the pristine tag team in this division. They are in that position where they do not need the titles. I hope they don't get the titles, to be quite honest with you, because their name is already a tag team title, if that makes sense. Now, Grizzled Young Vets, who we're going to talk about later on, they're getting to that level as well, whereas they can pretty much make you cheer anybody that they are facing. But Mustache Mountain, if the main roster was in better shape, I'd say throw them up there, but it's really not. I mean, you throw a really, really good technical tag team up on the main roster, and the next thing you know, you've got the Revival with Icy Hot in their drawers, and they're dragging their asses across the ring and flossing their butt cracks with their own jackets. So let's not put Mustache Mountain on the main roster, and plus they're British, so Vince would probably have them coming out there with cups of tea or, you know, second coming of all the bad parts of the William Regal gimmick. In a backstage segment, we see Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan, who are supposed to get a tag team title shot tonight, but Jordan is obviously injured. He's being helped around the back. They're with Sid Scala. The interviewers are trying to get a word with them. They don't want to say very much. They look pissed off. They try to avoid the cameras. They try to avoid the interview. So what we're supposed to gain from that is that they're pissed off and one of them's injured, and oh my god, the main event is in peril. Oh yes. In our very first qualifying match for the Fatal 4-Way in 4 weeks, we got Joe Coffey versus Flash Morgan Webster, which I took one look at. I love Flash Morgan Webster. I think the team of him and Mark Andrews is a really fun team to watch, but putting him up against somebody like Joe Coffey, who's one of the heavy hitters of the brand, you think it's going to be a squash. It's really, really not. It's really good. He makes a good showing of himself, but it's not the end result. Especially considering where they are, and Glasgow is Gallus is a thing that is going to carry all the way through. The result isn't surprising. What is surprising is how well Flash made an accounting of himself here. So there's collar and elbow type and a side suplex by Coffey to start, followed by a headlock. Side headlock by Flash and a stiff as fuck shoulder tackle by Coffey. 3-point drop kick by Flash and a step up enziguri. Boot by Flash. Now, Flash goes up to the top rope to do something. It's that world famous top rope something. We're never going to know what it was because it never ends up happening. But Coffey trips him. He sweeps his feet on the top rope, which knocks him off the turnbuckle, obviously. But he does it in such a way where he kicks his feet forward, launches his upper half back, so he cracks the back of his head. I don't know why I'm doing the hand gestures. We've had this conversation before. But he cracks the back of his head off the turnbuckle on the way down. It's just that little bit of nuance, that little bit of difference that makes the whole thing really, really good. And he sold it really well, and he's the smaller guy in the match, so he takes a butt kicking like nobody's business. But that one spot, it's one of those spots you'd almost be forgiven for thinking it wasn't planned. I mean, we've seen a couple things like that, so you know it is planned. But that's besides the point. Series of uppercuts by Coffey and a strong Irish whip. He Irish whips him back and forth, till to the point where Flash is really starting to sell the back. And you get the story on commentary. It's a little bit obvious if you've watched wrestling for more than a day, but the commentary's still good. You got the smaller guy, the faster guy, the high-flying guy. All of that is negated if you fuck up his back. Butterfly spin followed by a butterfly suplex by Coffey, who locks him in the full Nelson. He's got him by the shoulder, basically. The butterfly spin is basically the butterfly suplex position without suplexing him, so all that pressure on the shoulders. Do the butterfly suplex, more pressure on the shoulders, get the guy on the ground, put him in the full Nelson, more pressure on the shoulders. It's a very short, expansive time, but there's a lot of psychology in that sequence. Crucifix bomb attempt by Flash, a crossbody and some right hands. Flash crossbodies Coffey right out of the ring and follows it up with a suicide senton. Moonsault by Flash and a high knee. He goes for something else off the top rope. It's blocked by Coffey's knees. Corner headbutt spear thing from Coffey. They have a name for it. I don't know what it's called. And that big lariat that apparently they call the best for the bells gets the win for Coffey. Now, I will say, yes, cheer for the hometown guys, etc. But the crowd, as I said at the beginning, and I'm going to say it again now, the Glasgow crowd, is it Glasgow or Glasgow? Somebody correct me down in the box. Well, somebody from that part of the world correct my pronunciation of Glasgow, whatever. But there is a loud, "We are Gallus" chants. It's the kind of reaction I imagine that they wanted for, you know, when Balor comes out, you know, say he was up here in Toronto, you know, Toronto is Balor Club. They get this "We are Gallus" chant going for with no effort, like the crowd just does it. And Coffee talks about how his main focus now is winning the Fatal 4-Way, becoming the #1 contender, becoming the champion, etc. Basically, Wolfgang grabs another microphone or grabs his microphone and cuts him off in the middle of his spiel because he's going on to potentially get a world title match or world title within the context of NXT UK. Wolfgang grabs a microphone out of nowhere and calls out Dave Mastiff. So that's a thing. And that's what we're left with. And then they sort of reel him back in. The Coffee brothers are sort of played off as these guys that try to keep the dog on the leash. And, you know, we should really be focusing on my Fatal 4-Way match. Now, wouldn't it be good if Wolfgang was also in that Fatal 4-Way match? We're going to talk about that later on. Nina Samuels took on some chick I don't know named Casey Evans. It was an okay match. She finishes off the match with her own version of the Ushi-Garoshi, which she's apparently calling the Nina Garoshi, which I'm not going to say, because as we've talked about before, I really like saying Ushi-Garoshi, even though I don't know what the hell it translates into. The bigger story here, I'm not going to talk about the match. The match is literally 4 lines on the page, and it's just... it's pretty general stuff. There's nothing really to write home about. She just basically bullies this girl around. The girl's sort of moderately dressed like Joker, Poison Ivy, Peyton Royce circa NXT-esque. I don't know if she's somebody that's actually on the roster or not, but you know, it is what it is. She calls out Toni Storm. She wants a title shot at Toni Storm. She's happy for Toni Storm and all her success and how hard she's worked to get there. She worked so hard that she left her single mother and baby sister behind to pursue her goals. I'm going to, you know, take the title off her when, you know, you get the family dig in there, whatever. And then backstage, you see Kay Lee Ray basically reacting to what Nina Samuels has just said. I see what Nina Samuels is trying to do, stir the pot, get herself to the front of the line, play on people's emotions, etc. But I'm not going to let people forget the name Kay Lee Ray. So at some point on the way to a title shot, I'm assuming we're going to get Nina Samuels versus Kay Lee Ray. And if you guys have been following this channel for a long time, you know I'm not cheering for Nina Samuels in that match. Also, we see Mastiff talking to the media in the back, says in fact he is going to take on Wolfgang next week. And in fact, that match is another one of the qualifiers for the Fatal 4-Way. Which again, I say you get a very interesting scenario where you could have 2 members of Gallus in the Fatal 4-Way, which on the one hand gives them a numbers advantage, on the other hand, only one of them can win. And Joe Coffey's already had a title shot, so maybe play out the story that Wolfgang thinks it's his turn. And then they just throw up a graphic for the 3rd qualifying match, which is going to be Ligero versus Jordan Devlin, and I think we all know who's winning that one. The way I see it right now, Joe Coffey's already in. I don't think they're going to put Wolfgang in. I don't think they're going to play that story. I don't think they want to play a dissension in the ranks angle with Gallus just yet, because they're really, really popular where they're popular, and they're really, really hated where they're hated. So they're exactly working as a unit. I don't think you want to do what they're doing with Undisputed Era with them right now. So I don't think you put Wolfgang in that match. I think you put Dave Mastiff in there instead. If you got Joe Coffey, Dave Mastiff, throw in Jordan Devlin and one other person. I'm purposely not reading the spoilers for this one because I really do want to see how this plays out, and I want to know why they're not telling us that fourth match. Jordan Devlin is underrated as fuck as well, is he not? Moving on. The Grizzled Young Veterans taking on Amir Jordan and Kenny Williams, except, oh wait, no they're not. They come out, and Zach Gibson on the microphone is fucking gold. Everybody's talking about right now how the best person on the microphone and the best person to get everybody riled up is Sami Zayn. And all Sami Zayn does is come out there and be obnoxious. Zach Gibson makes people take their shoes off. And they do the shoe thing in Scotland. And I'm sorry, this is probably a little disrespectful, but all the chants that we're used to seeing in the UK show are great, and hearing them in a Scottish accent, they just sound different. And yes, people with an accent sound different, Spaz. You know, you're not a rocket science for figuring that out. But the shoe thing is really good. I've been saying this since I first saw Zach Gibson at the tournament, since I first saw him have his shot against Pete Dunne, since they first started the brand and I saw the shoe thing take off. I love the shoe thing because it's so fucking different. So there's no match tonight, you know. We're here, we're disappointed, we're all in our gear, we were ready for a fight, you know. Something happened to his buddy, we can't have a match, he's not going to get his shot because his buddy is injured. You might as well all go home. You might as well grab your things and go home, they say to the crowd. But then Williams comes out and says, you know, I'm the lucky one, and, you know, you did take out my partner, but I'm lucky enough to have more than one friend in this business. And we get the return of fucking NOAM DAR, and the match is still going on. Now, how NOAM DAR qualifies as part of this championship match is something we could really, really bitch about, but then we'd be more along the JD from New York line, would we not? Why would you not just take a good match when you can get it? And apparently, once again, I'm going to lean on my fans, lean on my viewers that are more familiar with the indies than I am. Apparently Williams and NOAM DAR were a tag team. Somebody tell me down in the box below, answers on a postcard to the typical address. And the match starts. They brawl to start. The faces clear the ring, and there's 4 men throwing hands all over the place. They get back in the ring. The brawl goes outside the ring again. There's a low drop kick by Drake, body shots by DAR, uppercut by Gibson, body shots by Drake, who works the leg, works the ankle, and then follows it up with a chop block. Back elbow by DAR, grounded front face lock by Drake, forearms by Williams, springboard crossbody by Williams as well. Suicide baseball slide by Williams was really fucking good because he sort of shot in between as opposed to going over or under. It was a nice spot. Follows it up with a tornado DDT. 3-corner stage dive senton by Williams is fucking wonderful. Top rope back elbows by Williams and a knee bar by DAR. That rhymes. It's fun like that. Stomps by Drake, a springboard back elbow by Williams, knee bar by DAR once again, and an ankle lock by Williams. And we go into this long, long hope spot that was fucking brilliant. And for a pre-taped show to have me on the edge of my seat, because I haven't read the spoilers, it was really good. They had both of the heels in matching tandem knee bar ankle lock submissions for a long ass time, and they played it up so that 1 or 2 times you thought you were getting new champions. I would have absolutely loved to throw a graphic up on for the thumbnail of this video and say NOAM DAR returns and he's the champion, and I just can't do it because it's not true yet. Everybody gets out of the ankle locks. Everybody gets out of the leg locks. Everybody gets out of the knee bars. Everybody is nursing at least an injury to a leg. And then everybody uses that adrenaline to kick everybody else. That is all I can say. Single leg crab by Drake works the leg boot by Williams. Williams and Gibson trade strikes in the middle for a little bit. Drake wraps DAR's leg around the post, and a drop kick by Drake and a 450 splash get the win for the veterans. Now, they call the 450 splash the Helter Skelter. I don't know why. I don't know how it's any different from a 450 splash, but the vets get the win with this upstart team looking really, really fucking good in the process, which mirrors the first match we saw beginning of the night, the Hunt versus the Mustache Mountain. And Mustache Mountain, you go into, and you're a good 90% sure Mustache Mountain are going to win. These are the guys that are out there to put on a really good fight and make Mustache Mountain look great. And you figured it was the same here, especially with the way they switched it up at the last minute. But the team of Williams and DAR are a really good team. Now, I like Amir Jordan. There's nothing wrong with the guy. No, don't get me wrong on that. I'd like to see some successful things for him too. But it looks to me, if the whole thing about Williams and DAR being a tag team in the past is true, it showed tonight because they had that tag team it factor. It was really, really good. I would love to see this exact match again. I would love to see this actually be the match announced and maybe get hyped for it for a week or two and let them get a second shot at those belts because they looked really, really good. And I'm really a fan of NOAM DAR. I really am. And the whole the thing that the crowd does where they sing the Battle Hymn of the Republic from Star Wars using his name as the syllable, like the dar, 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 dar. It's another one of those, it's like the shoe thing. It's incredibly corny. If you tried to explain it to anybody that doesn't watch wrestling, it would make absolutely no sense. But that's why it's ours, and that's why we like shit like that. And if you can't enjoy the corny shit in wrestling, and again, you guys know who I'm talking about mostly, then you shouldn't be watching wrestling, or at least you're not watching it for the right reasons, in my opinion. Now, I want to say something else here, too. Now, NXT and NXT UK only get an hour a week. So they should be able to do far less than their 2- and 3-hour counterparts on Raw and SmackDown, respectively. The one thing we are complaining about a lot on Raw and SmackDown, and again, I'm going to say what I said the other night, I don't review Raw and SmackDown because it will not bring me any joy as a content creator to do so at this point. I will watch the pay-per-views, I will watch the shows for people I like, I'm not reviewing the shows. And one of the big things is they're really falling down on building a tag team division. Now, they've spread it too thin, they don't know how to use who they're using. The Revival... just no. And in their burying of the Revival, they're also slowly ruining the Usos, which kind of sucks. But look at the tag teams we have in NXT UK. We've got the GRIZZLED Young Vets as our current champions. You got any combination of the 3 members of Gallus. You know, Mark Coffey and Wolfgang, Joe Coffey and Wolfgang, the Coffey brothers. You got the Hunt with Wild Boar and Primate. You got Mustache Mountain, who are like their key players, their key like fence posts of the division, even when they're not champions. You got Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster, who are a lot of fun. They're a high flying team, and if there was another cruiserweight team to counter them, I think they could have some really like crackerjack, really like high intensity matches. And you've got the team of Jordan and Williams, or Williams and DAR as it was tonight. Now, if Williams and DAR is the new team, they're gonna write Jordan out with an injury or whatever. Williams and DAR, I'd love to see Williams and DAR. I mean, I know all four of them are faces. I would love to see Williams and DAR versus Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster in maybe a best of 3, best of 5, winner gets a tag team title shot or whatever, because that would be fucking fantastic. There wouldn't be a title involved, there wouldn't be a face-heel dynamic involved, but you just get 4 guys doing great wrestling. You could have this generation's version of sort of like the Edge Christian Hardys thing, not for the scale, because obviously the Edge Christian, the Dudleys, Hardys, that was on a huge, massive pay-per-view scale. But I mean just in the sense that you can put those two teams together at any given point as even as a filler, and you know you're going to have a great match. Look more recently at something like the New Day and the Usos. You put them in there, you don't have to tell them to do anything. Just put them in there. Guys, we need 5 minutes. Guys, we need to fill 15 minutes. Go do it. You could have a similar dynamic, I think, with with Williams and DAR versus Andrews and Webster. If you wanted to go that way, you could have the Grizzled Young Vets versus the Coffee Brothers and have a heel dynamic, and that the same exact thing could happen. Mustache Mountain you can put anywhere. The tag team wrestling on NXT UK is fucking phenomenal. All the call-outs that we got tonight, we got Nina Samuels and Kaylee Ray gunning for Toni Storm. You've got Wolfgang calling out Dave Mastiff. We've got Devlin, who's going to be taking on Ligero for reasons, and and all this is wrapped around the idea that we're finding out very slowly what's going to happen with their main title. Now, if the main title is almost an afterthought, no disrespect intended to Walter or the guys fighting for that title, but I'm much more invested in the mid-card, I'm much more invested in the women's and tag divisions, and that's not something that any of the other brands can say right now. I'm sorry, even NXT proper, if Bianca Belair is still even remotely a #1 contender, I'm kind of falling off your women's division a little bit. I don't know what direction the tag team division is going in NXT, because we've sacrificed all the good tag teams to the monster that is the main roster. A lot of things are really messy right now. NXT UK is kind of knocking it out of the park right now, and me, selfishly, I'm going to go down the road to Mississauga and catch a Destiny show this weekend, and that's going to be a lot of fun, because I'm going to see Gangrel fight somebody in 2019. And now I'm just talking bullshit, so what I will say is I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.